a 3-day mega conclave focusing on governance, healthcare, and education. For past 2 days, we had governance leaders and healthcare leaders joining us on discussing on various aspects of innovation and technology for governance and healthcare. The first day, we had seen the presence of Secretary from Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Urban Affairs, additional secretaries from Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Ministry of Jal Shakti, and additional chief secretaries from the state of Maharashtra from Transport and Water Supply Sanitation Department, as well as DGNIC. That session was followed by a session with the IT secretaries from Telangana, Karnataka, and other states, and that session was followed by a session on smart cities. And also we had a session on digital social innovation in which we saw presence of leaders from Ministry of Electronics and IT and PSU and Bihar Bhavan and as well as Tripura Bhavan in that session. Yesterday, we had again yet another fruitful day on healthcare in which we saw presence of at least 30 plus healthcare leaders from government and hospital ecosystem and health tech companies also who are present there. And today, we have come to a very important day of APAC India Digital Empowerment Meet and Awards. This day is completely dedicated to education. And for that, we'll be having eminent speakers with us from the education fraternity, education ecosystem, from universities, from government, from edtech, leading edtech companies of India with us. In the inaugural name of the inaugural session of today's session is leveraging newest technologies to create future-ready education ecosystem in India. And for that, we have eminent leaders from the education spectrum with us. Let me introduce to all of you Colonel B. Venkat, Director AICTE. Let me also introduce to all of you Professor K. Ramamohan Rao, Vice Chairman, Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education, Government of Andhra Pradesh. And we're also joined by Dallas Krishnan, MD, Enterprise India and Australia, Coursera. I welcome all of you at APAC India Digital Empowerment Meet and Awards. Let's have a perspective from Colonel B. Venkat, Director AICTE. Colonel Venkat, your thoughts on leveraging newest technologies to create future-ready education ecosystem in India, especially keeping in mind the new world order. Over to you.
Thank you, Savik. Thanks a lot, and thank you to your APAC News Network channel also to give an opportunity to a lot of us amongst us to express our opinion and views, especially more so in the education subject and educational activities which have happened in the past few days, months, or I would rather say since the announcement of National Education Policy 2020. Not taking much time, I would straight away come to the point first said as to how we are shaping up and where we should be and where we are. As per the NEP, each one of us is very aware that India sees itself as a global hub of education by 2035. And that's a reality. That is something which, even though coming in the future, but that's a reality that having one of the best experiences of education way back when we were at the helm of affairs of education at Nalanda and Takshashila as to why not over a period of time, whatever activities have happened, why can't we regain our lost glory? And with that, what a beautiful conceptual paper on NEP has been written. And from July last year, in the time it has been made public and announced, a whole lot of activities have happened to ensure that we reach back to the zenith of the same education forum as such. And quite understandably, you have one of the best panelists who have been taken on board on a very regular basis, because this cannot be done only by the educational institutes, the regulators, the government, but it needs to be done in a proper collaboration with the various industrialist entrepreneurships, the various universities and the vice chancellors who are actually speaking, the ones who are going to be driving this through. The biggest activity, if I may say, which has happened is that the pandemic period has shown us that an online education is a reality. Even though it was there very much as part of NEP and much before even this pandemic started, but the pandemic forced us to go into this and see how beautifully the system has evolved. Each one, even to the tier 2, tier 3 institutes, have come up. They have risen to the occasion, and so beautifully and wonderfully well the education continued. We have overcome the negativity with so much amount of positive activities that we have seen students coming forward with brilliant ideas. We have seen entrepreneurs coming in this particular forum. We have seen the teachers community as such coming together and imparting education with the latest technology. One thing which is very important, and it's applicable to each one of us here, that is integration of technology towards improvement in teaching and learning. And I always am of a firm opinion, unless and until a faculty member or a teacher per se who is otherwise so very well knowledgeable and learned person does not understand the nuances of technology and incorporates them into their teaching and learning practices such as e-tools, e-platforms, e-activities, and thereby makes education that much more interesting for the students to learn. I think in the times to come, the teachers need to be taking this thing a little bit more seriously. And what we have seen is everybody is coming forward in this particular support. Number two, it's extremely important to keep yourself aware of the activities which is happening in the industries around the requirements of the industry, their special needs. So whole lot of activities that AICT have been happening on these regards. We have allowed for the online education, basically for this particular practices, so as to allow maximum students to get enrolled, thereby again aligning to the NEP for overall increase in the gross enrollment ratio and giving opportunity to many more students who otherwise could not have come. We are in the process of revising our curriculum with two intentions. Number one happens to be enabling the multiple entry and multiple exit option, that is to enable students in an employable parameter, thereby adding to the national contribution. And number two, aligning our curriculum and contents always to the industrial needs and international requirements. Third, and extremely important subject, which is directly being driven down from the government itself, and which happens to be promoting the education in regional languages. Towards this, AICT especially has taken up huge quantum steps in this forum, in which the online MOOCs platform, which otherwise were available in English on the Swayam website, are in the process of being translated into 11 Indian regional languages. And mind you, this translation is happening through an AICT translator tool itself. And simultaneously, we are in the process of writing original textbooks, that is, the technical textbooks as applicable to diploma and undergraduate. And then these textbooks today, as I am speaking, they are in the process of being translated again into the regional languages. So if you activity sees around, each one of them are being aligned in such a manner that we are focusing towards overall national education policy guidelines. We are focusing to enable that maximum students benefit from the various initiatives. These are some of the few very important alignments and activities which I said. If I have 30 more seconds, I would rather like to speak about one of the very important activities which AICT has done, and that is NEAT, National Education Alliance for Technology, wherein we have multiplied by n number of times a number of internship opportunities and the industrial connect of the students, the faculty member, and the institutes with one of the best edtech companies in India. We have given a huge internship opportunities to children, basically to align education which is being given in institutes and universities to the skill set requirements which are required practically for them to come out as a professional individual. Savik, these are the many of activities are in pipeline, many are going, but I would rather say that these are our hallmark activities which we have initiated during this pandemic, and 80 to 90% touch and go, we are nearing completion. We propose in the coming academic year we should be in a position to offer them to the students.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Colonel B. Venkat, Director AICT, for sharing some insights, some of the initiative taken by AICT when we talk about leveraging newest technologies. You talked about various initiatives, you talked about regional language, uh, percolating into various spheres of the country, and also talked about this national EAT, that is National Education Alliance for Technology. That's also a very interesting perspective we have put it.